Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Geekside News. If you can't tell, it's a Star Wars episode.
Yay!
Yay! With us tonight, of course, you know the four geeks in question. We've got Shiv,
What's up?
we've got Zosian, and
Whoa, that was kind of wild. That's a cool
he
trick.
just went super fast.
Yeah.
And we have Zosian,
Hello.
and we've got Vanquish,
Hey there.
and our special guest. I don't know if you want to consider him our YouTube producer, our special guest, our negotiator, hostage negotiator. I'm not sure, but with us tonight we've got Stupendous Wave.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No problem. Welcome aboard. He is just with us by picture and voice only tonight. So, but that SW is his face. Just to let you know. So, because it's a Star Wars episode, let's go ahead and go across the most important stuff recently. If you have not watched Star Wars Force Awakens, why haven't you? But, and why are you watching this show?
Yeah. Just click that little red X in the browser.
Yeah, go watch
You're done.
Force Awakens and then come back to YouTube and watch this again. So, but let's go ahead and get started with Rogue One and Force Awakens. Do you want to tackle Force Awakens first or Rogue One?
Force Awakens, since it's already over with, so don't get that one,
All right.
I guess.
It's been a few weeks. We've had since last time we discussed it in the spoiler zone, and we've had time to digest. We've time to go over it. What are our feelings on Force Awakens now?
I'm looking forward to the next movie.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
I know there was some complaints that it was basically Episode 4 rehashed. I think we have talked that one to death. But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was an excellent movie. I'm upset that Disney didn't release a 3D version on Blu-ray, but that has nothing to do with the movie itself.
Well, that's a good question.
Well, it did come out, but still 3D in the homes is still a little bit not as prevalent as the case may be, I guess.
Yeah.
Stupendous. We didn't get to hear your opinions on it. What did you think of The Force Awakens?
I did like it. I think that there is a lot of things in that movie that are highly commendable on J.J. Abrams' behalf. It's wonderfully shot. The special effects are great. And as far as the J.J. Abrams thing, something that I really have admired about him that I don't think a lot of people have talked about is he had all of these characters at his disposal. He helped write it as well, so he could have used all of these characters to death, all of the classic characters, but instead he made the really smart move and he chose to focus on this new story and new characters that we're getting, because I can't exactly remember who said it, but like the first really cool action sequence in the film with Poe and Finn escaping, those are two new characters that we're having a good time with. They're not previous characters, and he had Luke Skywalker at his disposal, and instead of just using him to death like I think any really fan would want to instinctively do, he chose to keep it for the next film, and I just think that that's really commendable. Overall, I like it. It's definitely a good basis. That's not to say it's a perfect film. It does have a few problems here and there, but overall, great start and a great base to what can be built on as a fantastic trilogy.
What you
Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think about Starkiller Base though, as a concept?
I like that. I like the Starkiller Base a lot, just because it's more of a logical progression of the technology, and it makes sense in the universe. As far as storytelling going, and the whole rehash of a Death Star, that makes sense, but I always, like as far as my videos and everything, I prefer to look at things more in universe, and that's the logical progression of the technology. And since the Death Star was the ultimate goal of the Empire, and the First Order is the offshoot of the Empire, and they really view the Empire as this great, huge organization, it makes sense that they would like to recreate a lot of the things that the Empire did. So zero, honestly, from my standpoint, criticisms of the Starkiller Base from an in-universe standpoint, because it's just a logical progression.
Well, sure. I mean, they needed to blow up planets.
Yeah.
That's a good way to blow up a planet. So I mean,
Hey, yeah, well, now they blew up 5 planets at once.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, but they eat stars to do it, so that was some pretty impressive technology.
yeah.
Because we're discussing it in universe, though. What about the economics of it? Because the Empire went from, of course, controlling a majority of the galaxy to however many systems they have left. Economically, in universe, is the Starkiller base even possible?
Actually, it's not the Empire; it's the First Order, because the Empire still exists somewhere else. This is the First Order who actually wants to do stuff, destroy the Republic still.
So they have even fewer systems.
Yeah, they're just spread out.
I would actually say yes, it is possible, because we have to remember the goal of the Empire was to govern an entire galaxy. That is not the goal of the First Order. The First Order is much more militarized than the Empire ever was. Not to say the Empire didn't have an effective military, but the First Order lacks the huge responsibility of really maintaining an entire galaxy that the Empire had, which is why we have better trained stormtroopers, we have better ships, and now we have the Starkiller base. So that's just kind of how it makes sense to me.
Yeah,
I just thought it was awesome that stormtroopers are actually hitting targets.
You do it. I was going to say the same thing. They hit things.
Yeah. They actually hit the X-wing. They were sitting still versus shooting all the way around it.
They increase their training regimen. They can actually shoot what they're aiming at now. Okay.
What do you think about the new characters, Stupendous, in your opinion?
I like them. I share the unpopular, or have the unpopular opinion that I actually think Finn is the best new character that we have. He's extremely charismatic, he's likable, he's someone that started off as a stormtrooper, and now he's a resistance fighter. I think his motivations in the film honestly make the most sense. I like him a lot. That's not to say that the other characters aren't good. They definitely are. I think Kylo Ren is a fantastic starting point for a villain. He almost doesn't seem like a full villain in The Force Awakens, like the whole time, which is completely done on purpose. Rey is a good starting point, which really that's all you can ask for in the first film is good starting points. But Finn at this point, I feel like he's the most developed. He's definitely the most capable, and the rest of the characters have their story that will progress, which is, like I said, something that The Force Awakens did really well, is it doesn't like just shove the whole story in your face. It starts it and keeps you interested.
I agree, yeah. I agree with you also. I think Finn is the most developed character. And I think, unfortunately, I think part of that is I think Episode 2 is going to be probably focused more on Rey and her training. So I think, I mean, I hope they bring Finn into it more. I hope they don't throw him off the side, because I think he was an awesome character. And I love the chemistry everyone had. It was really fun to watch.
But was it still realistic for a janitor to be on a frontline team with on Kylo Ren's frontline team?
I think they rotate them around to give all of them experience. They want them all to have experience, so they probably brought them to give him some combat experience. That's my opinion.
Well, I mean, every great fighter has to start somewhere. They have to have some battlefield engagement.
And just because he was a janitor doesn't mean that's, I mean, you can go look at the military now. They don't just go out and fight all the time. They have latrines to clean. They have buildings to build. They have other jobs besides the combat side of it.
Absolutely.
I don't think that's too unrealistic.
Just because he was, I guess, a quote-unquote janitor in the Starkiller base doesn't mean that he didn't receive military training. He absolutely did.
Oh, yeah.
FN 2199, or I guess traitor, is what the name is. They're in the same squad, so they trained very similarly under Phasma, actually. And Phasma, she spent a lot of her time on the Starkiller base, and it makes sense that they wouldn't just be there training all the time. They had other duties to take care of, but absolutely, training was a part of it. And just a fun little side note, that's actually why Finn is so good with the lightsaber, is because he trained with the same weapon that Traitor used, which is the Z6 Riot Baton, which is really cool.
It is.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing when he came out.
It was.
and the lightsaber did cut right through it. I was like, at least they found a way for them to combat the lightsaber if they come up against it, which is nice.
Yep.
But I mean, from their standpoint, how often did they expect to come up against? Well, then again, you had the Knights of Ren, so there's still more Force users and lightsaber wielders out there. So I take that back.
You never know when a lightsaber is going to come into a battle. You train for everything, not just train for specific events.
I don't think it's as much as that they expected to come frequent conflict with lightsabers. I just think it's more that their most I don't know how to put this. The thing that they wanted the most is obviously the death of Luke Skywalker. In the novelization of The Force Awakens, it's really made clear that Snoke thinks that Luke is just the biggest threat to his whole organization, so much more than even the Resistance. The Resistance almost seems in the novelization as like a passing thought to Snoke compared to what Luke really is. So obviously they would want to train them to combat Luke specifically because he's the big thing, at least in the First Order's eyes, which honestly may end up coming back to bite them because the Resistance could be one of the big things that ultimately ends up stomping it out. But to prepare for Luke, that's one of the things that I would do if I were Supreme Leader of the First Order.
Definitely.
Yeah, melee combat. In combat, you're going to have range and also melee. And so, them having a melee weapon that can't take up with a lightsaber, it's always good. So, and plus, they even had them in the Clone Wars and stuff like that. Weapons that could fight lightsabers, also. So, just an extension of that technology, in other words. I think some of Grievance's troops used them, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Possibly.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead.
I was about to. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So, is there anything else we want to talk about with The Force Awakens other than I think we're all pretty much happy with it and how it went?
You know, I back to the whole releasing on Blu-ray. I did tell myself that I am no longer buying anything on DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. You know, I'm so embracing the streaming and all that stuff in the world. I'm like, I am never going to do that again. But I own all the other ones. It's really hard for me to just not continue on with that. I don't think there's any other movie I would probably say that. I haven't bought a movie in years. I want
there's
that
very
one.
specific ones that I will buy. And most of the superhero movies are ones that, yes, I can stream them anytime I want. But the one bad thing with streaming is Netflix loses licenses all the time.
Oh, that's
and
very
Amazon
true.
loses it, and so there's a chance, and that's the one problem with streaming and the digital, is there's a chance it may go away. So I tend to buy things that I really enjoyed. That it also tends to support the companies. So
That's true.
Okay, we have one question from our audience, Martini G3. What shows about Chewbacca's bowcaster? Is it way too overpowered? Or I think it's just right. It seems like something Chewbacca would use.
No, bowcasters, I mean, in the universe, were always very, very powerful weapons. So, I mean, to answer Martine, the reason, I think that was on purpose when Chewie's bowcaster just tearing up stormtroopers, and then Kylo just eats a hit. I believe that was a way of showing that he is a very, very strong individual.
I think. Go ahead. Go ahead and finish. I thought you were finished.
It shows that he's very strong. With I know throughout the whole episode, he's shown as not in control of himself, and I think that's part of him coming to terms with what he is. But I think he's a very, very strong individual. If he wasn't, Snoke wouldn't have taken him on. There's just no way.
Let's put it bluntly here. We see in the very beginning that Kylo, that Ben there, is a fairly powerful in the Force, and I think a majority there you can see that in, you know, Darth Vader when he was shot at with blaster bolts, you know, held up his hand and caught it in his hand, but I mean, still that's a mechanical hand, and he still just caught it with his hand. Kylo, right out the gate, and the coolest effect I've ever seen, I wish I had seen it in 3D, holds a blaster bolt. I mean,
that was cool.
he stops it straight up.
But it still has this momentum as soon as he lets it go, and like, okay.
Yeah. Well, because you got
He basically froze it in time, basically.
Yeah, well, he stopped it. It still had the kinetic energy behind it, which
Well, how much connect?
I'm not going to argue the science behind it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I talked about science. I don't want another headache tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause-
Okay, let's.
Like that ability, or I'm not exactly sure if there's a direct term for Kylos yet because it's very different. But what Darth Vader did when he was deflecting blaster fire, it's called Tooth of Menace, and we saw Yoda do it in the prequel trilogy when he was absorbing the Force lightning and stuff. But it's actually the absorption of that energy. So Darth Vader was absorbing that energy, but like with Kylo, it's different. It's not Tooth of Menace, I don't think, unless it's some type of variation on it, because he's not absorbing it. It's just being held there. So,
Stopped it.
but that's definitely something we haven't seen before. That's really cool.
Maybe frozen in time or something like that. Some type of ability to freeze time or something that we don't know about yet. Or explained.
So I think we can all agree with from Martin G3 that basically we just think that Kylo Ren is extremely powerful, and that's one of the ways that they showed that he can take a hit and keep going.
Well, and plus, if you look in other Force users have been able to, after being hit by lightsabers or other stuff, keep on fighting. So there's Force healing, so he could be already healing it. That's why he sucked against Rey later on, because he was still trying to heal that wound.
No, I don't think he actually. I look at that wound completely different. When he's smacking it, he's making himself mad. He is channeling that anger and that hurt into power.
Yeah.
He's not trying to heal himself. He's not trying to stop the bleeding. He's trying to hurt himself to make himself more powerful.
Yeah,
That's how I see it anyway.
That's what I thought. I thought he was trying to channel the dark side.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to Rogue One, because we could talk about this all night long.
Oh, we
I know
could.
can't.
I just want to bring up one
I
last
just
point
remember
before.
we went 2 hours last time. I'm talking on about this. So.
Well, I just want to bring up one last point before we go on. Do we honestly think after 30, 40, 50 years of being together that this is the first time that Han used Chewie's bowcaster?
He
Since
could
we're on the
upgrade
subject.
Since he could have upgraded the bowcaster. We don't know what he's modified it with.
Honestly, I don't think he would have, because Han is always. I mean, he had that scoundrel thing, the whole smuggler thing. So, I mean, the single pistol blaster would have been his go-to weapon. And then, at the end when he takes Chewie's bowcaster, wow, I should have been using this all along. I really honestly think that was the first time he's actually touched it, or fired it, not touched it. But
Sure.
You can't imagine them
I
just
think it'd be
sitting
one of
around on.
these moments.
But still, I mean, you wouldn't think they would have been, sitting around on some planet somewhere, throwing back a couple beers between hijackings. And it's like, hey, let's shoot some guns. I mean,
I don't think that's the first time he shot it, because he never says in The Force Awakens, "Oh, this is the first time I've shot this." He just says, "I really like it." So,
okay.
I mean,
Fair enough.
he never comes out and says, "Oh, this is the first time I've used this. I like it."
But isn't one of the things with the bowcasters, though, is only Wookiees can handle because the recoil is just so extreme. I thought that was part of the whole reason that you never saw anybody but Wookiees using the bowcasters.
I guess not, because Han shot it a lot.
That's true, yeah.
Han shot first?
Also, it's in
Nice.
Battlefront all the time, so no, I assume regular people can shoot it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Rogue
Alright.
One. Before
Yes.
we get on the 2-hour tangent like we did last.
Yes. Well, Stupendous there gave us a wonderful segue there, because I actually happened to watch one of your videos, and I didn't realize I watched one of your videos until we were talking about everything. I showed him your video about the theory that Snoke was in the Rogue Awakens trailer, or I'm sorry, Rogue One trailer, and I just happened to watch it. I shared it with these guys. I'm like, this is awesome. I love this idea. And then I realized it was one of your videos, which I thought was awesome. But yeah, let's go on. Rogue One, the movie coming up at the end of this year. It is a Star Wars story. It's not based around the Skywalker family, although you'll hear about them, I think, a couple times. In the trailer, we've seen a few really, really neat things, like Mon Mothma, which the actress who played her looks great. Looks
Scary
perfect.
looking great.
Yeah.
Looks just like her. And she played her also in episode 3, also. If y'all didn't know. Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Well, in a
she was in
deleted
a
scene.
deleted
sorry.
scene, yeah.
Right.
And they're back on Yavin Base, so we get to see an updated and newer version of Yavin Base. And we introduce another new character whose name escapes me at the moment, but I'm pretty sure Stupendous will fill us in on that.
Felicity Jones? Her?
Yeah.
Jen Ursa.
So, obviously, I think we're all excited.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I am pumped up that they're doing something like this. I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, a non-force, mainly non-force using movie. It's gonna be different. Which is gonna make it unique. So
No. Now, I think everybody here seen? Well, Stupendous is here. Maybe you can explain the Snoke and Rogue One trailer there, because I really like that theory.
Actually, it was released a few days ago by an executive at Lucasfilm that he's not in the movie. So that's kind of disappointing. I actually, that was going to be either tomorrow's or Tuesday's video that I was going to release that. But yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. He said not in the movie, which I say it in the video, not a good or bad thing, because it's not like it's a detriment if something's not in it. Would it have helped build the universe? Absolutely. Do I understand why? Of course. They want it to be a more contained story, which is what they've said before. That this is one story, which is something pretty new and cool for Star Wars. So I don't really have a problem that Snoke's not in it. Like I said, it wouldn't have been a good or bad thing overall for the movie at the end, because we don't know anything about it. We haven't seen it yet. At the end,
Sure.
we could say, oh yeah, maybe more inclusion of things that we've seen before would have been cool, or we might walk out saying, that was just perfect. So that's kind of how I feel. But yeah, unfortunately or not unfortunately, Snoke will not be in Rogue One in any regard, apparently.
yeah,
I just saw some post from Geek Nation about iconic characters actually being in the film, because Mads Mikkelsen just revealed that he's playing Jin's father in the movie. So that'll be interesting. I can link this.
All right. So that's actually rather disappointing, because I thought that was a really awesome idea to tie into the universe there.
Sure.
well, he's gonna be showing up into some of the books that coming out. He will be in the Leia book coming out. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe Stupendous knows.
Yeah, Bloodline.
Yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, I learned it from your video. Sorry.
I do. One thing I'm enjoying is, Star Wars has always had strong female characters, Leia, and other female characters, Mon Mothma. I like the fact that Rogue One looks like it's going to be, another very strong lead. I mean, she's the main role in the film, so I think that's awesome.
Yeah, kind of back-to-back films. We just had Rey, and then now this. It's saying
But
something.
honestly, I think I see more of Force Awakens more as an ensemble thing because of all of it. I think this one's going to be more focused on. I mean, I realize what the plot of the movie is. They're trying to steal the Death Star plans, but the fact that they're using her as the lead, I think, is great.
Yeah, I agree.
And plus, like you said, it's leading up to basically episode 4, weeks before.
I just want to see how many Bothans died to bring the plans to it.
That was
I
episode.
actually made that mistake
6.
too. That was that's a statement that Mon Mothma makes actually in Return of the Jedi, not A New Hope. So
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
time to bring the Death Star plans in A New Hope. So maybe we can get an anthology film about them way down the line, where we can see some of them die, but not in this movie. I guess.
Well, I know it's a Legends book, but Choice of One by Timothy Zahn, he talks about how the Emperor actually arranged for those Bothans' deaths and stuff like that. he's talking to General Thaw, say, hey, this is going basically is a huge trap for the rebellion and all that. So they're not, but like I said, that's sadly legend now, not true.
Yeah.
But oh well.
That also.
I love Mara J. She was my favorite. Oh well, sorry.
Yeah.
We'll get back to that later. Okay.
I mean, that still leads into the whole fact, the trap for killing all the Bothans. Also, the fact that the second Death Star was fully operational when the Rebel Alliance showed up. So it all kind of tied in together. At least that's what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, of course, that's still shot out the window now with the Death of the Expanded Universe by Darth Mickey.
Yeah, it was all a ruse in Return of the Jedi, all to get Luke where the Emperor wanted him to be, and that one factor that the Emperor put it all on was Vader, was the one thing that ended up crumbling, and as a result, everything else did.
Yeah.
Kind of like what he did to Darth Plagueis. He didn't think he would. He let his guard down. The Emperor let his guard down, and Anakin basically killed him. Threw him off into
That's
the
usually
center
how
of
the Sith take care of their masters. They
Right.
Yeah.
But it was done out of love, and lightness versus the darkness. So.
Yeah, a really cool thing that I love about the Emperor and Darth Vader's relationship, and especially in Return of the Jedi, is the Emperor at no point has been less powerful than Darth Vader. In fact, it's almost said that it's nearly impossible for Darth Vader at the point of Return of the Jedi to ever surpass the Emperor, which is why the Emperor is so just eager to get Luke to turn to the dark side so he can have someone that will surpass him. And like you said, Darth Vader destroying the Emperor was more out of it's a show of love for his son, not actually doing the way of the Sith. It's the exact opposite, which is why it's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, and it's kind of like when you're only way he would ever surpass him is kind of like when you were talking about in one of your what if videos about what if Anakin did win that duel and stuff like that. So, but
yeah.
We actually have a question in the channel. ML Maddie asked, "What do you think the unnamed anthology will be on?"
I'm almost certain it's an Obi-Wan film. Ewan McGregor has said that he's not allowed to talk about what's going on in his talk or his meetings with Disney, and I assume that it's an Obi-Wan film because it's something that we've been asking for a long time. There's a good potential story there, good campaign story there, and Ewan McGregor is one of the things that very few people actually have a big problem with in the prequels, which is not one of the only things actually besides the Emperor. And that's what I think it is. It could be something else, obviously, but they've shown with these anthology films, I guess if you want to call it the first phase of anthology films, they're all prequels. I assume they'll move past that with, like I said, a phase 2 anthology film. But I don't see them wanting to break that trend in these first set of movies because Rogue One, prequel, Han Solo, prequel, just makes sense that the third one would be a prequel as well. And at least in my mind, the only logical story point for me would be Obi-Wan because they kind of pushed the Boba Fett one back. I do think we will get a Boba Fett eventually, just not in this one. And he will play a role in Han Solo, apparently.
Okay, that's cool. Well, since we're on this topic anyway, so let's go and move to movies, books, comics, toys, and TV. How has this universe exploded since 1970, basically? 78, sorry.
Well, I mean, I'm going to age myself, but I mean, I saw the original Star Wars in the movie theater. So, it was huge back then. There was toys. There was, I mean, that's right when you started to see marketing for movies and the tie-ins. It wasn't just, I mean, it started to become very big. But, I mean, the toys, I mean, I had all the Star Wars action figures. Played with them because I didn't really, I was a kid. And now, I think Disney needs to back off just a bit with some of their marketing. I think that they're going a little overboard.
Oh, you don't like your BB-8 tangerines?
Yeah,
Well,
my
right back
R2D2
there, I
suit.
have a BB-8. One from the Sphero BB-8s right back there. I should have brought it closer where I could actually show it on screen.
I was at the store earlier, right before we started this, and I just happened to look at a box of it had Star Wars, basically Lucky Charms, and I mean, you actually had little itty bitty marshmallow BB-8s, lightsabers, and all that good fun stuff. So.
Well, that's been par for the course lately because had the frozen cereal, you had the Minion cereal and stuff like that. So branded cereal is not that out of whack.
No, it's not.
No, but I think some of the toys that they've come out with recently are a little much.
Yeah, and then they made a little mistake not to have Ray toys, which they are going back and fixing now.
Which confused me as to why they didn't have Ray toys because
Yeah.
I mean, that was just a particular one, right? But I mean, still, I mean, it was kind of
They didn't hardly do any girl character toys at all, and who I heard that it was a lot of people want to call it sexist and all that, and I'm like, I can understand why they didn't want to give some stuff up, but you already knew this was going to happen, people. Come on, you just threw up a storm for no reason at all, not showing these toys.
it's 2016. It's
Yeah.
the age of the internet. Everybody's gonna complain.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
We've
very
become
true.
Professional complainers.
Yeah.
I mean, Stupendous. What do you think about all the marketing that Disney's done and all the stuff that's come out?
Stupendous.
I don't really have any big problems with any of the toys. It makes sense to want to get your franchise out there as much as possible. Also, we have to keep in mind that they spent $4 billion on this thing, and they have to get their money back. And
Yeah.
interestingly enough, they're not going to get most of their money back from the films. They're going to get it back through toys and marketing like that. So it makes sense. It's actually really interesting that it's just a lot more revenue comes from like toys and stuff like that than actually comes from the films, which is why they're pushing it so much.
Well,
Yeah, that is an interesting point.
I mean, they drive each other. I mean, if you have to have the mega blockbuster movie to push the millions of toys.
Yep.
Well, not really. I mean, because there's always been toys that come out, and sometimes movies just don't do that great, but you still have the giant toy drive behind it. And you know, I understand your point that they need to make their money back. I don't want, as a very long time Star Wars fan, I don't want them to oversaturate, and then people get sick of it because then we don't get all these cool things.
But you heard a lot of those complaints. I mean, you heard a lot of people I did anyway, that was big time Star Wars fans like myself, and they're just like, all right, you know, I'm really sick of seeing all this stuff everywhere I go. I didn't really agree with that. I'm a big enough Star Wars nerd to where I didn't really care. You could just cover me in a blanket of this stuff. But,
Yes.
but you know, I can understand. I can understand kind of where some people are coming from.
But no, I was just gonna say, let's face it though. The Disney does not have to worry about the big time Star Wars fans complaining about the marketing, because no matter how much the big time fans complain and bitch and yell and moan, they're gonna still go to the movie theater and pay $20 for a 3D IMAX version of Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't matter how much they complain.
Oh yeah, and
How about the books now?
I'm so sad
What
to
do
see
you think?
Oh,
Well, we got books and comics. Like from of course, my favorite, I have to say, books is the Rogue Squadron books. Especially with Ray Squadron in there, and comic books. I had to say the Jedi series, which is way before 25,000 years before Yamin.
yeah, that's before the Jedi. Well, the Jedi came together as quote unquote Jedi.
Yeah, light side and dark side. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but did the Jedi make the Legends cut, or are they did they get killed with the expanded universe?
It hasn't been announced, to be honest. Not that I know of.
Yeah, I think they did, because they pretty much come out and said that the movies are comics. I mean, comics, that the movies are canon. And I think rather than say what isn't canon, they came out and said what is, which is
The
the easier
movies.
way to do things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Movies and the books based off the movies, basically.
Honestly, though, I don't
Yeah,
think
the
I think,
novelizations are canon.
and I get the people upset, but I think if they were to cherry pick what they wanted to keep canon, I think they would have created more of a storm
And a
instead of saying,
confusion.
yeah, instead of saying, okay, the movies are it, all the books are alternate universe stuff, and it's not going to count. Where if they just cherry picked stuff and said, okay, well, this book is canon, and this book is canon, this part of this book, I think they just, if they had done that, I think it would have created more of a backlash.
I do agree, but what is canon now? Obviously, we know the movies are canon.
Clone Wars and Rebels are.
Is Clone Wars still canon?
Yes, Clone Wars and Rebels are both canon.
Okay, so Clone Wars and Rebels are canon, and then obviously the book adaptations of the recent movies are still canon, and we've got nothing else, right?
I don't believe so.
Well, they did release comics that are canon afterwards. So
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff is canon, and they're going back and doing a lot of canon stuff now with the prequels. Like there's the Anakin and Obi-Wan book, and I'm sure there's others, but we have Han Solo and Chewbacca comics and Luke comics, and then they have novels that they've released. Heir to the Jedi, Shattered Empire, which is a comic after Return of the Jedi. Now we have Bloodline. We have what am I forgetting? There's one. Oh, Aftermath. A lot of this stuff. So we do have a lot of canon material now that isn't from the films. So a lot of that stuff is canon. But of course, that stuff was released up to The Force Awakens, a lot of it. But clearly they have like the canon thing on it, and it says that they're canon. It's made very explicitly clear. But
And now we've had like the Heir of the Empire books have gone away, the Truce of Bakura has gone away, and the whole in the expanded universe, the whole reasoning for the Emperor taking over has gone away.
No, I think the World 2 still exists, and I think they said Dark Bane is still canon. If I remember, I don't think that I've seen a Legends tag on yet.
Darth Bane was actually canonized in the Clone Wars when he appeared.
I really wish they would canonize Revan again, to be honest. I really hope they do that, because of course I am.
The old Republic.
Well,
I heard
Revan is mentioned in the Dark Bane's book, so he has to be canon. If the Dark Bane books are canon,
I don't think those are canon. Just because the character of Bane himself is canon doesn't mean that the stories that came with that character are necessarily canon. Just we can, I guess, assume they are, since there's been nothing thus far that disproves them. But no one's come out and said these books are canon yet.
All right. So, since we're on this subject, in general, what's everybody's opinion on the cutting of the expanded universe? I mean, what is everybody's thoughts on it? I know we're kind of jumping track here, but since we're on this subject,
I think it was a good thing to give the writers a chance to make something of their own, and because we were talking about in pre-show, how could you pick and choose what to show in a movie that someone is going to love it or hate it if you destroy it, do it wrongly? So I'm thinking that it's probably a good thing to give them more artistic license to make it their own.
but wouldn't you have loved to see like Timothy Zahn's Heir of the Empire trilogy on the screen?
Oh yes, I would love to see it on the screen. Who says they still can't do that? I'm just saying it'd just be a legend versus actual official Star Wars canon right now.
Or maybe Outbound Flight. That'd be an interesting one to see. I don't know.
They agree.
I mean,
They agree.
Yeah, they agree. The kids agree.
Okay. Vanquish.
But
sorry.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna skip to Vanquish. What his thoughts were on the death of the expanded universe.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I just sit there and told you that I just would love to have a big blanket full of Star Wars at all times, but I honestly have not been one to get into many of the books, many of the extra stuff. I've just been, kind of more of a mainstream. I love the movies. I love, the games. I love the characters. I love every little thing about that stuff. But I've not really been one to delve deep. I know, don't kill me, don't throw stuff at me. But
We'll get the
I
pistol
honestly
selling.
don't have a whole lot of knowledge on this topic.
And I'm kind of with Vanquish on that. I mean, I've read a couple of the books, but I found that my time, you can only geek out about so many things in life, so you have to pick and choose what you're going to really get into.
That's just it.
If I had unlimited time, then yeah, I'd probably pick up a lot more of it. It's just, yeah.
What about you, Stupendous Wave? What's your opinion on it?
I think that it's necessary to get these new movies because if they had kept a lot of those things canon and they hadn't said anything about it, like obviously the stuff that came out after Return of the Jedi would have to be decanonized, but I think that it's smart because you guys said it perfectly. Give them as much creative license as possible. For me, the stories are still there. They're still relevant. I can go back to them whenever I would like. And just because someone says that something isn't canon or doesn't really happen, it's just all up to you. Because if you think about it, none of this Star Wars stuff really happened. It's just like a franchise. It's just something that we enjoy that's fiction.
Sure.
And my getting, I guess, upset and rallied up over fiction within fiction just seems a little bit absurd to me.
Okay.
I don't know. I understand why they did it, and I agree for them to be able to do the movies. They did have to dump the expanded universe because there's just so much that was written. There's so much going on that to fit a movie in there and not. You're right, Thaman. You're right. To write the story and to expand with the universe, they had to dump the universe. However, from a standpoint, I'm very disappointed that they did because they spent so much time and Lucasfilm spent so much effort to keep these stories along a general path. You have so many writers, so many producers and creators and stuff like that have written into this general storyline. They expanded thousands of years and hundreds and if not thousands of books and comics and movies and all this other stuff all into this one major universe and all in this basic storyline. And I keep talking with my hands, and it just goes away. And I realize it had to happen, and I understand it had to happen, and I've dealt with that fact, but it's just really disappointing that they had to.
Well, I mean, it's like Stupendous said, the stories are still there.
The stories are still there, but it's a different story now.
Yeah, but it's a good thing. It refreshes it and stuff like that. It's
mean,
basically a recon like they do in
it's a
DC all the
reboot.
time.
I mean, how many times have the X-Men been reformed? Because they just say, I mean, Spider-Man and all the other different changes in comic books. I mean, they have to. I mean, I think if they didn't, they would be expected to do certain things. And I don't want to go to a movie knowing what's going to happen. It's one of the reasons I enjoy The Walking Dead, the TV shows, because they don't follow the comics 100%. Whereas, like, Game of Thrones does. They follow the book. So, when I watch or consume entertainment, I don't want to know what's going to happen. I like the element of surprise, I guess. So not having the expanded universe, I think, is good because the writers have so much more freedom now. So they can give us amazing stories, and we still have those amazing stories to read.
Yes, they've got the space Nazis now.
Okay, let's go. I want to go back before we get to just talking about Stupendous stuff. Let's talk about Rebels and real quickly. I want to talk about the Rebels. What do y'all? Okay, first off, I'm going to ask y'all first. What do y'all think of Star Wars Rebels? Then I'll get my opinion afterwards.
I have not had enough time to watch too many episodes. I said I watched Clone Wars, but Rebels has not been on my list of things that I've been able to pull in. Marivor watches it. I could probably go hunt her down and get her opinion, but I'm pretty sure she won't get on camera.
How about you, Stupendous? How you think they did? How well have they done it, or stuff like that?
I would call Rebels unfocused at times, with sparks of great storytelling and character development. That's just pretty much how I would call it. But there are episodes that are clearly just blatantly filler. Just as filler of an episode as I think any TV series has before it. And then there are episodes that are just hugely, like, they changed big parts of the universe. And for example, Darth Maul coming back, that's a big, big thing. And Ahsoka coming back, Darth Vader, all the interactions with the Inquisitors, these are huge scale things. And then you have tiny episodes that it feels like there's almost no middle ground. It feels like there's either huge universe-shattering events that are occurring or something that doesn't matter in the slightest.
Yeah, because like I said, they got Belgon, they introduced Leia in it, but they're slowly bringing more part of the universe. I'm just waiting for Han Solo to show up now. I know Luke won't, but I'm just waiting for Han Solo to somehow show up in the Rebels for some reason. He'll be smuggling something to the rebellion or something, or who knows.
Probably.
But I have to say, I agree with Stupendous. There's a lot of filler episodes. Animes do it all the time when they run out of story to do something.
Totally
Bleach is
so.
a good
Okay, I
example
can
of
compare
it.
it to anime, but I mean, because I was going to ask. I mean, Rebels they're writing the story as they go, correct? So I mean, they're not. I mean, because anime typically follows a manga, so they usually take the manga and just animate the entire manga. So that's why you get the filler episodes, because they run out of manga to copy.
Yeah, I know that. But I'm just saying, it's just at least it's showing another aspect of how we always want to know how the rebellion started. At least they're just showing how it started in Lothal, and now
No.
they're spending it outwards now.
Now, wouldn't that be a neat anthology film? The creation of the Rebel Alliance? But we already... Just saying.
That could be cool, yeah. I mean,
Or they could
they
do
did
that.
kind of Force Unleashed, where it was like the whole Starkiller event set up all the rebels, but I'm not sure if they would want to do something like that.
Especially
Maybe.
since
Yeah,
haven't we already had a property called Force Unleashed?
Who knows? Starkiller may show up again. Who knows? But I think, fortunately, I think it's legend status now. So
Yeah, for sure. That's as Legends gets.
Yeah.
but like I think you pointed out in your videos, Ezra is almost like Starkiller in some ways, if I remember correctly.
I kind of said that he's oddly turning out to be kind of like the opposite of Starkiller, how he starts his journey from the light side, and it appears as if, and now it hasn't happened yet, that he's headed more towards the dark side, which is kind of the opposite of Starkiller, which I thought was interesting. And kind of, I think that they've definitely heard the fans clamoring for more Force Unleashed characters, which is why they've blinded Kanan, and he's kind of a lot like the character of Ram Koda, or will potentially be like a more of the unconventional Jedi. And along with that, they even have similar designs, only one is much younger.
So how you think they're going to take it next season? I know you did a prediction video and everything, but how do you think it's going to end? Because it may be the last season coming up next season. So
I think we will get a lot of Darth Maul. I think it will all culminate in a duel between Maul and Vader. That's going to be the big thing. Vader's going to be after Maul with a vengeance, but I think that it's going to have a lot to do, obviously, with the Sith Holocron. We're going to explore Ezra more because he's in the darkest situation now that we've ever seen him in. He's just lost Ahsoka, or he thinks that he's lost Ahsoka completely. And he put a foot in the dark side in the finale of Season 2. It's all going to be about Ezra and more of this transition, because that's kind of the first half of Season 2 really shows that Ezra is still like clearly on the light side, a Jedi in training, but the second half really starts to see him taking the first steps into the dark side. So I think that they'll continue with that, because that's more of the logical story progression, and that Darth Maul will be the villain of Season 3. Other than that, I'm not sure. Rebels is really good at honestly making surprises. In fact, I'd say they're better than a lot of properties. Of course, with the Inquisitor, Grand Inquisitor being a temple guard, I'm glad that they played that back in, and they brought Maul back. It's really unpredictable, which is great. I love it for that.
But I do have to say, one thing I don't understand in Rebels is the lightsaber copter.
I saw that. I kind of, Merrill was watching it one day, kind of wandered out the living room, and I just looked at it and went, yeah,
Wait.
yeah.
Did you
How
say
does that
lightsaber
work?
copter? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I want to see
should-
that. I want to see it.
Okay, wait, no, look for a lightsaber copter photo from Rebels.
I'll go
that's what
find it. Seriously, that just sounds kind of awesome. Weird,
Well-
but awesome.
Well, basically what it is, the Inquisitors, they have a lightsaber that they can hold the handle and spin the lightsaber round, really fast. And they can jump off a ledge and copter away. And like,
Well, hey,
really?
huh? Really?
Yeah. Am I right, Stupendous?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. No comment.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out the physics on this one. How does that work?
Magic.
Magic.
Which I know, I mean, a lot, well, not a lot. I've seen the Force used more in a magical way sometimes, and I don't think that's the way. I disagree when I see people use it like that. I play a tabletop game, and one of the things we do with the Jedi is there's no magic, so it's definitely hard to deal with sometimes.
Yeah, and that's what I agree. That a lot of that, I agree on that one, Shiv, is because I see a lot of times some they coincide the Force with magic, and it's never been magic. Magic is something completely different. We're not Harry Potter here.
Right. I was just gonna say, but I enjoy Rebels. What the show it is, so, and I know some people in the channel right now on Twitch saying they don't like it, but I liked it because they brought Buffy in on it as an Inquisitor. I'm like, that was hilarious. How the person who plays Buffy can play an Inquisitor in there. So, and she's a badass at that, especially with her robots and everything she plays around with.
Nice.
Okay, let's get to our final topic today, which is our special guest, Stupendous Wave. Tell you what, tell us, Stupendous, how did you get started in YouTube, and what gave you the idea to do all this stuff?
Well, I honestly just like the idea of YouTube, that you can share a lot of your interests with people that have that specific interest, because they're obviously searching for you, or for certain topics that you've discussed or done things with, and it just connects you instantly with people that have a similar interest in you. I actually didn't start with Star Wars. I was trying to do Marvel videos, I've always been a huge Star Wars fan, though more so than anything else. Kind of did Marvel, then I did some Jurassic World stuff, but now I firmly cemented myself in Star Wars videos because that's a franchise that I've loved forever, and I just like I said, like the idea of YouTube. It's cool to make information-based videos and to hear what other people think, not only of your videos, but the topic in the video. I just think that's great, and it's something that the internet and YouTube has granted.
Absolutely, and
So-
you have to pick a topic that you really like. I mean, you crank out tons of content on your channel, so I definitely recommend everybody out there going to check it out. But I mean,
I do have a question about that though. I mean, a lot of your stuff is opinion based. Do you get a lot of hate for some of the things you do, or do you ignore it, or I mean, how do you deal with it?
I honestly don't get a lot of hate. I just think that most people are reasonable. Of course, it's the internet. You're going to run across people that aren't. But,
Yeah, exactly.
but you just kind of have to... I think that a lot of times when people get hate for opinions, it's because they share their opinions and they don't say why they have come to such an opinion, which is something that I try to do all the time.
Right.
Is explain why I have a certain opinion, not just say this is what I think. And I think that that's helped a lot.
Yeah, I mean, backing it up is always a good thing because then you get people to start possibly either changing their mindset or come up with counter arguments. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
absolutely.
I know you've been successful at it. I'm just looking at the data on YouTube right now. I'm not sure how many videos. It don't see how many videos you made, but it says you have 199,381 subscribers with 68,575,069 views.
That's a lot of views.
Yeah.
For doing this for less than 2 years, that is awesome.
So I have to ask, how do you keep your content fresh? How are you able to come up, with so many ideas for videos?
Well, they honestly are just running through my head every second of the day. Just new things to talk about, things that just went through my head before YouTube. Like, oh, I wonder what is going to happen here, or how is this going to be explained, or I wonder what someone thinks about this. So it's honestly not hard. Conversation is an important thing. I have a few buddies that love Star Wars as much as I do, and just discussions with them spark just hundreds and hundreds of video ideas. And I always just have my phone ready, and I have, of course, a little notepad thing, and whenever I come across something that maybe he's confused about, or something that we are talking about, or something that I don't quite understand that I can research later, I just try and write it down because there's probably people out there that are interested in that as well. So that's honestly something I would say probably the easiest part of it all.
That's great.
No. If you have a question about it, probably 100 other people do as well.
Okay,
Yep.
I got the total videos. 642 since September of 2014. So
Let's take a step back there, okay? September of 2014 that's a year and what, like 10 8
7, 8
months?
months. Yeah,
7 8
like
months. That is 365, so let's give it, say, about 500 days. You have actually done more than one video per day.
Yeah, when you really want to get out there, before you try and crank out as many videos as possible, something that I honestly wouldn't suggest. I think I've paced myself a lot better. One video a day is much better than two, and it's actually helped me a lot. But I've only been talking about Star Wars since about a few months before the movie came out. So I'm really happy that there's just a huge fan base for Star Wars. Before I did a lot of Jurassic World stuff, and the Jurassic World fans and everything like that, the movie they were all really awesome and good to talk about. Nowhere near as big as Star Wars is, which is something that has helped me a lot. So I haven't been a Star Wars channel for my entire time on YouTube. It's been 3 months since I fully committed to Star Wars, so that's kind of what's been going on. But I used to upload 2 videos a day back when it was Jurassic World stuff, and the great thing about Star Wars is there's a new news thing almost every other day, a new piece of news. It just was released a few days ago that Luke was actually training with Kylo 6 years before The Force Awakens, and that Han and Leia were together 6 years before The Force Awakens. And then just today's videos were set photos for Episode 8, and just tons of news all the time. About a week ago was some leaked descriptions of the characters' costumes, Luke and Rey's costume for Episode 8. So I'm actually looking back on my videos, and out of the last 7 videos that I've made, 3 of them are actually news-based. So that's also helped a ton.
And honestly, you've got, for at least the next, what, we want to say at 5 years? Yeah, because we've got the Rogue One story coming up. We've got Episode 8. You've got the Han Solo anthology. And then you've got Episode 9. And then, of course, the Unnamed anthology. So that's, what, at least 5-6 years of content right there ahead of you.
Yeah, and they've said, I believe a producer at Disney said that it's going to be just like Marvel, that they're going to release, I believe the direct quote was, Star Wars movies until the end of time.
as long as they don't kill the fan base, as long as a new Star Wars movie every year, cool. As long as they keep the creation, as long as they keep the I guess the quality to it. Let's face it, they did.
You don't want to see a Jar Jar anthology?
Oh,
Oh no,
Can
no.
Can we say
We're not-
Darth Jar Jar.
Can we say Fast and Furious? Anyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. if
Oh
it-
yeah, I thought it was funny when they compared Force Awakens to Fast and Furious. I'm like, come on, sorry, it's not.
I don't know. Furious 7 was pretty good.
Okay, but I just did it just for the fun. I searched channels on by fan base subscribers. It looks like you're, other than the Star Wars main channel, Star Wars headquarters, you're actually 3rd on the list of most viewers, subscribers wise for Star Wars right now.
Congratulations, dude.
Yeah.
Good
So,
job.
do you do all the work
Cool.
into these
I didn't know.
videos? I mean, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have 2 buddies that actually help me out a lot. One of them is my channel artist, which that's very important, is to have like good thumbnails and good images in your videos. And I
No
have
doubt.
a buddy of mine that does just a fantastic job about it, doing that. And also, he started writing scripts, and he doesn't think that they're good, but I think that they're amazing, because he actually, I'm not sure if you saw the Story of Darth Plagueis video, maybe any of you, that I released a few days ago, but he actually wrote that fully, and
Nice.
he just smashed that thing out of the park. It was great. And then I have another one of my buddies that edits my videos for me. I used to originally edit my videos all by myself, but for the past about month, he's been editing all my videos, and he does a way better job editing my videos than I ever did. Before it was like, he'll go get screenshots from movies if I'm talking about something, or he'll go search for just the coolest pictures to find. He's awesome. So I'm very lucky to have 2, not only great friends, but great people that help me work on the
Yeah.
channel.
I imagine it makes a huge difference. I mean, it frees you up for more time to
Yeah.
be looking for the next story.
Yep, exactly.
So, I mean, there's a lot of other YouTube people, us included, that want to have a huge channel. What do you recommend for them? Like, what's helped you? What's helped direct you? Obviously, you've got a great work base to work off from, because Star Wars is just huge. But what do you suggest to other people that really want to try to get to your level?
I would say consistency is very important, probably the most important thing. And also, I did not script my videos for the longest time. I've only been scripting my videos for the past, 2 months is when I started fully scripting all of my videos. And it just took off after that. I think if you have an information-based channel on something like this, you have to script your videos. Absolutely. Or else you'll just repeat yourself, and it'll become all just won't make as much sense as it normally would. That is probably the biggest tip that I would have for anyone.
The classic public speaking issue, repeating yourself and going, Actually, I got yelled about. I didn't get yelled about that, but a lot of my earlier videos, apparently, I put a lot of ums in them, and I kept getting told, "Stop umming, stop umming."
You'll get the English people like, "No, grammar, your grammar's wrong." And I'm like, oh, that's how I speak. I'm sorry.
All right.
Let's see. Want to give us a little preview what may be coming up this week, or over the next month for your channel?
Sure. I have a few video ideas that I am planning on writing and kind of recording. Like we talked about earlier, that Snoke thing that came out, that will either be tomorrow or Tuesday. And then I'm actually working on a video right now about the top 6 most impressive or weirdest feats by Jedi and Sith in the Star Wars universe. Like things that would just blow your mind.
Nice.
I'll give you one example real quick. It's Bane when he was practicing with his lightsaber, I believe, on Kamino in the rain, but he deflected every single drop of rain with his lightsaber to the point where he was completely dry by the end of his session.
Wow.
Which obviously only in Legends continuity would that ever be a thing, but still a cool thing. Yeah. So just stuff like that.
Fascinating. By the way, I think we have one of your diehard fans in the chat room, Savogi. I just want to I don't know if you're in the chat room or not, I just want to let you know that she has been pouring out her love for, or him. It could be a him, too. I'm sorry. Going by Savogi, it's or her or him. They're pouring out their love for you, so they're a very huge fan of yours.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you, Savogi. I think I talk to you on Twitter, and you comment all the time, so thank you very much. I'm actually not in the Twitch chat right now, but I definitely appreciate it. I love talking about Star Wars. I don't like to say that I have fans, because it's not really fans. It's just people that are interested in the exact same thing that I am, and that's
You have
where
200,000 friends.
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And everyone, I am just so impressed with just how intelligent everyone is in the comments, and how, no, it's honestly, a lot of people really are intelligent in the Star Wars fan base, and they're passionate about it, and that's honestly a lot of time where I get a lot of my video ideas, is people will comment and ask me to talk about something, like what
Absolutely.
happens here. Like, someone actually commented a few days ago, can you make a video? Yeah, they actually commented a few days ago, and they said, what happened to the Jedi Temple after Order 66? Can you tell me what happened to it? And I had no idea what happened to it, but now I do, and I've researched it, and now that's a video that's been going into production. So they're great.
Nice.
That's great.
On a
Yeah,
side,
when you have great interaction between the person doing the video and that, it's great to do. That's why we do this live, where we can have interaction from the people in our Twitch channel and stuff.
Yeah.
Maddie, by the way, ML Maddie in the chat room loves you too, and Savogi is really excited that he or she says, "Holy Jesus, he knows who I am." And while we're on the subject of the Jedi Temple, what happened to it after Order 66, I just got to thinking about this, because I don't know how many of you are aware from the Expanding Universe from the books that on Coruscant they have these giant machines that go through, and they based on one end, it kind of destroys the building in front of it, and on the back end it's rebuilding new buildings on the back end of it. I don't know which book it's from. It's been a long time since I read it, but basically on the front end it was going, the destruction, or the buildings were going in and being destroyed. On the back end, new buildings were being built. And all I can think about this, I saw on Facebook today that they put together 2 robots that are actually 3D printing a bridge across some kind of stream or something. And all I can think is oh my god, this is where we're going.
3D, well, they already 3D print homes already.
Yeah, exactly.
In China and they sell for $3,000 to $5,000. I'm like, wow.
Well, in China, that's a lot of money. So.
Yeah, I was about to say that's not cheap.
I know.
They make $3 a year, so $3,000 to $5,000 is. the lifetime for an entire family.
Well, I know. I'm just saying the technology is advancing, and the book you was thinking of was it was the second Rogue Squadron book when they were in Coruscant.
Okay.
Because and they actually made a Death Destroyer under the city and it launched out in the third book and took a part of the city with it.
Yeah, I remember that because they had buried the Superstar Destroyer because there was a Superstar Destroyer and they buried it back when the Empire was there, and they destroyed like not half the city because the entire planet's the city, but it destroyed like an entire blocks of city when it launched. So. Okay, yeah, that's enough nerding out.
Because I know I was chatting with some people, they love your what if videos, they love your versus videos and stuff like that because it makes you actually think. And I don't know if you know you're doing that or not. It makes people think also, which creates conversation for everyone. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I was just. My first what if video, I did not expect it to do like as well as it did, and people actually liked it, which was nuts because it's basically just a story and writing a story, and a lot of times it's almost looked down upon, just writing stuff. Like it's almost fan fiction. It's very close to it, but I was surprised just how many people really liked it. Like that's something that just genuinely shocked me that people wanted to see more of that type of video.
Right.
And I'm very happy about it, too, because it's one of my favorite things to sit down and write, because it almost feels like, okay, here's the base, now it's up to you. What do you want to happen? And that's probably my favorite type of video. And like I said, I did not expect anyone to like it. In fact, I expected to get a lot of people saying, never make a video like this again.
But now they want to see them all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have a Sally Field moment?
You might not get the reference.
What exactly?
Yeah.
When she won an Academy Award for
Oscar.
Oscar. I forget what movie it was.
Yeah.
Her speech is, "You like me. You really, really like me."
Yeah, I guess I did then.
Wendell's showing his age too.
Yeah.
What if Mace? Here you go. Here's the video for you from ML Maddie. What if Mace had killed Palpatine?
Then we wouldn't have the rest of the movies.
We would forever be only having Jar Jar. We would have had Jar Jar and stopped. There you go.
No, I would say
Jar Jar for
Palpatine
Emperor?
fell out of the building and landed on Jar Jar and killed him.
There's an actual. I'll have to hunt it down, or if you guys, for people on the channel, go look up Darth Jar Jar. There is a fan post about Jar Jar Binks actually being a Sith Lord and why. There's some interesting.
I'm going to say.
Oh, you heard where they actually some guy was interviewing the actual voice actor for that, and he got him to actually say, well, if that was actually to happen, if there was a Darth Jar Jar, how would he sound? And he did the whole thing where he's like, okay, well maybe he would sound like this. It was pretty funny.
Well, there's
well here's a picture
how it
for
should
you.
have ended. How it should have ended did a video on it. Also, Robot Chicken. It had on the Star Wars episode.
Here you go. Here's a picture. Are you guys looking at the? I guess.
Yes.
At first mention, that theory does sound really absurd, but you dig into it. It's really nuts how much everything makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of scary how much research he put into that. So that is a pretty interesting theory.
How's it go? Misa, kill you now.
Well, I'm just going to say, I think Savagi, I think he really wants you to do a what if video if Mace Windu did kill Palpatine. There's an idea for you.
All right, thank you. It would all really depend on the context of when he killed him. If it would be like, if he killed him before Anakin actually, if he was able to deflect Anakin's blow of his lightsaber and then kill him, because I'm not sure how Anakin would really react to all of that. It would definitely change the Star Wars universe a lot.
Yes, it would.
Yes.
Don't tell me you're going to think about this one, aren't you?
Yeah.
Well, hopefully he'll make that video for you, Savogi.
Oh, look at him. He's making promises for you.
It's up to him,
So,
I
so
said.
you gonna help him edit it and everything?
I know. I was gonna say.
I wish I was that good. I wish I was that good at that.
All right. Well, I think we've been nerding out here for almost an hour and a half. Definitely, if anybody who's listening or is listening in the future has not subscribed to Stupendous Wave's YouTube channel, please go ahead and do that now, because he does some excellent work. And I've come across his work not even realizing it's his, and played it. Like I said the other day when I was showing the Snoke in Rogue One video, just accidentally, and it was great. It really is.
Thank you.
And he is 599 subscribers away from 200,000, so I'd love to see him hit that.
It's still about tomorrow, people.
Yeah. Now you can go to search YouTube for Stupendous Wave. Do you have a direct link for that, Stupendous?
I
I
got
just
it.
linked it in the channel.
You put in channel? All right.
Yep.
So please go ahead and support him. He does some great videos. Stupendous Wave, keep on going. Before I get to the other Yonkers on here, anything you want to say?
No, just thank you for having me on here. It was a lot of fun.
You're
Awesome.
welcome
Thank
to
you for
come
coming.
back anytime you want to. You got anything special coming on? You got my email. You got my Skype. So if one day ever come back on, just let us know. We
Will
do this
do.
once a month.
All right. Any closing remarks from the Peanut Gallery?
I just have to say I also have just kind of really started watching your videos, and I really enjoy them. So keep it up. Good work.
Yeah, you do an awesome job, bud.
All right. Awesome. Shiv, thank you. Zosian, thank you. Vanquish, thank you. You guys are awesome. Stupendous. Thank you for coming on. You're an awesome guest, and I look forward to all the videos you got coming up. And I'm pretty sure the people that will see us in the future also appreciate what little insights you have into becoming YouTube popular can be. Don't forget, check out quest-con.com. They are the ones that are supporting us. Quest Convention coming up in Mobile, Alabama in 2017. So keep an eye out for that. I think, Vanquish has got a shirt right there.
So does Zoe.
So does Zoe.
Yep. Those
You guys are in yellow. I'm trying to figure out green and yellow. What
I'm thirsty. You know what'd be really good? Something's like the
Lemonade?
dew from
Mellow
a mountain.
yellow?
Mellow
a
yellow.
mellow yellow, Sprite, Mountain Dew. You know, I feel like some sort of citrus refreshing soda.
Gatorade. Okay.
All
Well,
right.
like I said, thanks everyone for coming in today. Thanks to our viewers who are watching us live and also on YouTube. We do this once a month. It's usually the first Sunday of the month. If there's something different, we will let people know. We'll see who. You never know who will show up on this show. So
Yeah, we have random people that come in and out, so it's awesome.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful night.
All right, guys. Thank you.
bye.
Night.